So a lot of times I'll see these disgusting Dragon Ball theories on social media, and I like to send them to my friends, as a joke, just laugh about how ridiculous some of them can be. And there's one particular theory that caught my eye, and that's the one that fans believe that Gohan's beast form could be derived from Chi-Chi's side of the family. And while I don't believe this to be the case at all, I thought it'd be a fun little challenge to see if I can somehow find a way to prove this theory to be true. So in order to do this, I'm going to take the liberty of using material from all Dragon Ball content, and that includes the manga, the anime, and all its adaptations, including filler. So let me not waste any more time and let's get right into it. So the first thing we got to ask ourselves is, what exactly is Gohan Beast? And the difficult part about this is we don't really have much to go off of because we saw it for a whole 2 minutes at best. But at the very least, we know its name is Gohan Beast, so we can assume that it has something to do with like a beastly primal power in Gohan. So we ask ourselves if there's any other instance of us seeing like a beastly transformation in the series, and the answer is we actually have seen one recently, and that was in the Broly movie. In this movie, we see Broly achieve a new form in which Paragus describes it as Broly tapping into the Uzaru form in his base state. The Uzaru form, of course, being the Saiyan's initial transformation in which it brought out their most raw primal power in the form of a giant ape. So you're asking yourself, what does Broly's rage transformation have anything to do with Gohan Beast? And I think it was the catalyst for Gohan Beast in the sense that it's bringing out that primal power in Gohan. So the first reason that it looks so different is actually stated to us various times in the story, and that's that Gohan's a Saiyan hybrid. We find out through Vegeta in the Saiyan saga that somehow the mixing of blood between Earthlings and Saiyans causes a radical change that creates these powerful hybrids stronger than any normal Saiyan. So now we ask ourselves, if this is just the Saiyan hybrid form of Broly's rage form, then why haven't we seen it through any of the other Saiyan hybrids? And the answer is, we actually have seen something similar. Back in the Goku Black arc, we saw future Trunks achieve a brand new transformation in the anime in the form of Super Saiyan Ikari, otherwise known as Super Saiyan Rage. What I find interesting is that Trunks achieves this form after having a burst of rage towards Goku Black, in which we see his hair grow exponentially long and we see a blue aura emanating from him. Now what do we see when Gohan goes into his beast form? We see him go into a rage from the sight of seeing Cell Max just beat Piccolo to a pulp. We see him radiate with a blue aura, and then his hair gets exponentially long. But then we ask ourselves, why does it look so different from Trunks' form if this is pretty much the same transformation in my eyes? And that finally brings us back to the topic of this video, and that's Chi-Chi's lineage factor. Now, Chi-Chi is a fighter that is extremely slept on, having a power level of 130 in the 23rd World's Martial Arts Tournament. Now, while this may not seem like a lot, especially once we get into the Frieza saga and power levels start to scale up into the millions, we have to remember that Master Roshi's power level in the Saiyan saga was 139. So Chi-Chi was comparable to Master Roshi, who, before Goku showed up, was the strongest, most revered martial artist in the entire planet, and she's only 9 points weaker than Master Roshi. So how could Chi-Chi be this powerful of a fighter, especially since the only real training she got was from her father, the Ox King? And the answer lies right there. The Ox King's name in Japanese is Gyumao, which roughly translates to Ox Demon King. Now, while the demon moniker is really nothing more than an epithet for the Ox King, I always do find it suspicious just how large and beastly of a man he is, especially when you consider the only other person we've seen of that size is the Barbarian. And in a planet with a dog as a president and a potential three-eyed tribe, I don't think it's too far-fetched to believe that the Ox King could have some form of demon lineage to him. To further back up my claim, I want to look to the Garlic Jr. saga, in which Garlic Jr. releases the Blackwater Mist. The Dragon Ball wiki describing this as a mist that turns anyone affected into a Demon Clan member, causing them to take on a demonic transformation. And we see that all the characters affected with the Blackwater Mist have red eyes. And who else has red eyes? Gohan Beast. But now you ask yourself, everyone has red eyes. So how does that correlate directly with Chi-Chi's bloodline and Gohan Beast? But what I want to point to is when Chi-Chi was affected by the Blackwater Mist, she actually got into a fight with Gohan. Now what I find interesting about this is that Gohan is actually dodging all of Chi-Chi's attacks. And while you could argue that he's only dodging it because it's his mother and he doesn't want to hurt her, I would argue that if a 2-year-old tried to punch me, I wouldn't exactly dodge it. I would just let him hit me and I wouldn't really feel any pain. So my question is, why didn't Gohan just simply take the attacks or simply try to neutralize Chi-Chi instead of actually dodging the attack? And I think the answer to that is Chi-Chi actually in that state was strong enough to at least do some sort of damage to Gohan. This would make even more sense considering that the Z fighters can actually detect ki and they can detect the strength of attacks, knowing when and when not to dodge depending on how strong an attack is. So I would say Gohan is a pretty good gauge for testing battle strength. And what's even crazier about this is the same Gohan post Namek Saga that was throwing blows with final form Frieza in the filler. If you don't want to use the filler, third form Frieza, and was giving him the works. So if you really want to highball Chi-Chi with this Blackwater Mist stamp, it wouldn't be crazy to assume she's at least strong enough to deal some damage to Frieza, Saga, Gohan, who was also just eating blows from Vegeta right after they got back from Namek. We don't see this crazy of an amp with any of the other Z fighters, including Yamcha. So we have to ask ourselves now, why was Chi-Chi receiving such a big power boost from the Blackwater Mist? And this all goes back to the Blackwater Mist causing its affected users to undergo a demonic transformation. And if we're going by the Ox King's potential demon lineage, it could be that Chi-Chi gets an additional amp from already having demon blood in her from the Blackwater Mist. So Gohan Beast having red eyes in the transformation is a result of it bringing out almost a demonic power in him, similar to how the Blackwater Mist did so with its users. To go one step further, we also see a dark black outline around Gohan's eyes in his beast form. Now ask yourself, where else have we seen a dark black outline in front of somebody's more evil transformation? And the answer is Majin Vegeta. We've also seen this with Super Saiyan 4, in which Goku states that he almost doesn't recognize himself anymore. And we also see it with both Kale and Broly when they achieve their legendary Super Saiyan transformations. So I believe that with Chi-Chi's demonic lineage, that Gohan, when he undergoes the Super Saiyan Rage transformation, actually undergoes a metamorphosis in where he almost turns into a subcategory of Super Saiyan Rage that emanates in Gohan Beast. This would mean that this is a form exclusive to Goten and Gohan, potentially only Gohan, since we haven't really seen that kind of level of potential from Goten like we've seen in Gohan. So the final thing to solve is why Gohan's hair is white and not yellow, as there's really nothing in Chi-Chi's bloodline that would indicate the color white to cause this transformation. But we have to remember there is one key difference between Gohan and future Trunks, and that's that Gohan underwent the ritual for the ultimate transformation from the Elder Supreme Kai. Now we see when Gohan undergoes his mystic or ultimate form that he gets a white aura that's really unique and kind of symbolic to the ultimate form. White hair being very prominent with all the god characters, including the Kais and even the angels. So there we go, that's my absolutely cracked theory on why Chi-Chi's bloodline and her lineage is a direct result of Gohan undergoing his beast transformation. So after this, now no one can complain about the Gohan beast form, because not only did he foreshadow it in Super when he said he was going to achieve a transformation that no other Saiyan has achieved before, but I'd argue that this transformation is actually more foreshadowed than Super Saiyan itself, being foreshadowed all the way back in Dragon Ball. I had a lot of fun making this video, so if any of you have any suggestions for any more wacky or outrageous theories for me to cover and try to make sense, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.